Hello and welcome to Nigeria, the Road to 2019, a series of programs where Arise News places the audience and the choice at the heart of our coverage of the upcoming presidential elections. I am Christian Ogodo. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, all the news, comments and analyses that provide unrivaled insight into Nigeria 2019, including there is no doubt that another party the Lagosians are currently watching as a fast-growing opposition is the United Democratic Party. United Democratic Party is one of the newly registered parties in Nigeria, jostling for political relevance in the forthcoming general elections in 2019. The party's candidates are burning a desirous enthusiasm to make Nigeria a better place. Today, we talk to a renowned businesswoman and a fledgling political bigweight with a large humanitarian spirit who has dedicated her years to supporting the cause of women generally. But with the political wilderness that the Nigerian woman had been pigeonholed over the centuries, can the motley crowd of the new Nigerian women break the political jinx that they've been confined into? How ready is the United Democratic Party, UDP, to break this jinx and be on the driver's seat of Nigeria's political train? Now, let's speak to Mrs. Iyabo Bello, who is a principal consultant in the leading consulting firm in local and international consulting in education, and also the governorship candidate of United Democratic Party. She joins me now in the studios. Hello, Mrs. Bello. Thanks for joining us on Nigeria 2019.
Hello, Christine. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a very big office you're seeking, though the deputy governorship candidate of the United Democratic Party in Lagos State, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria. You're not in any way got butterflies in your tummy that's really gargantuan for you to want to, an office to want to go into?
Not at all. In fact, I'm prepared for that. Having been involved in some humanitarian services and also being a part of those people or of those women that have actually fought for the implementation of some policies affecting women and children, going for the deputy governorship aspirant, as a deputy governor aspirant in Lagos State, it's not something I should be afraid of. I have been involved with the implementation of policies like Buy Naija. I've been involved in the implementations of policies like ensuring that women products are bought in MDAs in the country. At least 30% of women products should be bought in MDAs in Nigeria. I've also been involved in implementation of policies that has to do with female children in Nigeria. So I think it's just for me to take it a notch higher by vying for that post.
You feel, you know, I like your confidence, even despite the fact that the Nigerian political terrain had always pigeonholed women. But right now, we're seeing a motley crowd of them, you know, dropping that toga of no, women can be there, having for the first, well, not for the first time, you know, a female presidential candidate flying a political party, and a couple of others as vice presidential candidates, and some others like you as deputy governorship candidate. So tell us, in a place like Lagos with the political sagacity and volatility, what new relevance also are you and your party, the UNDP, going to bring to bear on the people of Lagos? Your party is relatively unknown.
Well, if you say in Lagos, you might say it's unknown, but we have a presence in the north, and that's where we have this former Minister of Women Affairs, Mama Taraba. She's one of our aspirants. She's vying for the Taraba State governorship post. And my party, United Democratic Party, we actually have so many things on ground, talk about the basic amenities of life, because we understand that for a nation to move forward, we have to handle some basic things, talk about the poverty level in the country, talk about education, talk about security. But if we have to streamline it down to Lagos State, we understand that free education, let me just pick some. Free education used to be one of those things we enjoyed those days. I'm a product of free education.
Under Jakonde.
Exactly. So, but it's so pathetic to see now that education is quite expensive. And a developing nation, a nation that is serious about its citizens, should ensure that education is easily accessible by its people. So making education expensive, it's not ensuring that our country, Lagos State, one of those states that makes the country, will develop at the pace it's supposed to be. You and I understand that at the moment, Nigeria is being regarded as one of the poorest countries in the world, you know. And for us to pull out of those kind of indicators, we need to ensure that education, which is the basic foundation of any country to attain that level, needs to be assessed by even the commonest individual in the country.
Your party is recognizing education as, you know, one of the setbacks in Lagos State, where you are gunning for the governorship position.
Yes,
but Lagosians will tell you that that's really not their problem. With an IGR of over 20 billion naira monthly, the man has wasted on the roads of Lagos, I think, is the most paramount concern to Lagosians. How are you going to solve it, knowing that the intermodal transport system does not work anywhere in Nigeria, but Lagos needs it because of its economic activities?
Yes, one of the basic things one of the most important things we are actually bringing on board is ensuring that the railway system works, and it works effectively. Even we are a people, a party.
That's the federal government's project.
Yes, but
is your party going to, you know, maybe do the monorail in Lagos?
In as much as
Lagos is an island.
In as much as it's a federal government project, we understand that the state belongs to us. The federal government is not living there. We have citizens that are our major responsibilities. It is our duty, it's our responsibility to ensure that we find how to make transportation easy and conducive for our citizens in Lagos State. So that's why the rail system is one of our paramount projects. Yes, the present government, they've tried, because we are a people that continues in government, continues in the implementation of policies and projects in the state. So wherever they're stopped, the railway system is one of our targets in the state. Then we are also looking at the waterways.
I thought that should really, you know, draw your party's concern and the rest, because it's not properly regulated, it is not properly managed. You don't necessarily have to have the government running it. So how is your party going to key into that and use it, you know, as a springboard for the people to vote UDP?
The waterways has actually been one of our focus for transportation in the state. Having lost, especially me, it's a personal ambition for me, having lost a dear friend in one of the boat mishap that happened in Ikorodu, we have actually been talking with some international companies to see how to ensure that we have human capacity and we have the technical know-how to ensure that we have a proper and a working waterway transportation. So we've been doing that, trusting that we'll be elected. Even if we are not elected, it is still our own community development to ensure that we put in our own quota in the state. And with that, I believe it will bring a trust, because we are not a party that just talk. We are a party that actually do.
Maybe you'll be changing your name to the Do Party, eh? Or
Very
talking
well.
about Do Party.
No.
Well, let's still stay on, you know, the waterways in Lagos State and the environmental hazard and issues, you know, that it poses. For example, the debris on the Lagos Lagoon is affecting the fauna lives and other eco lives in that place. What kind of reclaiming and cleanup measures will the UDP be bringing if it comes to power?
You know, like I told you, we've been discussing with some organizations, both internationally and in the country. And we are trying to start off with this, just like giving you the secrets of what the party is trying to do. We're actually trying to start off with the Ikorodu Waterways. That's the one that leads to the island, and to see, because that was actually where I lost a friend of mine. And we have been trying to see how we can put in our own community, that's do our own community service to ensure that all those debris, because another good thing is that you see those
plastics and the rest,
you know, we actually want to do do something that would, after bringing them in, because everything has its own purposes. If we go into the recycling, one of the reasons why we have all those things in the water is because it is not properly disposed. And in disposal of waste, there are so many things you have to think about. Waste can be recycled, and recycling waste can also generate income for the country. So if I have to go further, it
for
means
Lagos State.
Yes,
now.
for Lagos State. Sorry, for Lagos State. If I have to go further, probably I'm looking towards being a president. If I have to go further, if I have to go further, it will involve exposing some other things, like, okay, bringing out those bottles, bringing out those leaves. I could remember we have a woman amongst us then that used to use those plants as craft. Most of those things are ways in even empowering the citizens.
Like waste to wealth.
Thank you, waste to wealth. So these are some things we are.
Your party is planning to do
actually
in Lagos
drawing plans.
Okay, let's look at, you know, the typicality of the Lagos political terrain. Your party has the godfather, the leader, you know, is being described in so many acronyms. Bola Asiwaju, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Are you going to dethrone him and wither his political powers and his followers and the rest? Are you going to use your gender as a mobilization tool in this area? Because I know you talked about, you know, sensitizing women and your humanitarian activities. How are you going to deploy that?
Well, due to the fact that I've been involved in humanitarian services that has to do with women and girls, we have quite a number of women. I'm a member of the Nigeria and also a coordinator of the Nigerian Network of Women Exporters of Services. So we have our presence in Lagos State in large numbers. So I am looking at using that as part of my advantage. Then also, in as much as we have the godfatherism in Lagos State, I am of the opinion that no matter the number of the wealth I have as a child, I cannot have the rag the elderly ones have. So it's not as if the godfatherism can be totally eliminated. It's just that the definition and the roles of godfathers needs to be changed. That's just how I see it. We have godfathers that are ready to be advisors, godfathers that are ready to counsel you on the next steps to take in moving the state forward. We will not have godfathers that are ready to tell you and demand the resources of the state. We will not have that anymore. But we will just have godfathers that are telling you, this is how you should go about it, this is how you should go about it. So I appreciate the father, that's Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I appreciate all that he has done. I appreciate all that he's doing at the moment. But I am not in any way moved, and I am not in any way afraid. Neither am I in any way. I'm also determined that he can actually, his hands can actually be taken off. And I won't be surprised if he actually embraces me as a child, because he's somebody I know that also respects the younger generation.
And allows your party to take over Lagos State.
It's not compulsory that he accepts. It's what is mandatory for me is to ensure that I work actively in taking over the state. That's my governor, my party, and I. I am not going in there to seek anybody's acceptance. I am only going in there to seek the acceptance of the citizens of Lagos State.
But who is propelling you? Who is your godfather in Lagos that is propelling you?
My godfather in Lagos? Do I really have a godfather? Let's leave that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at it's all right. You've spoken about what your party in Lagos will be doing. Now, let's look at you. Deputy Governor is, you know, with very limited roles in the Constitution, and often at time you find them at loggerheads with their bosses and the rest. Tell us the kind of candor that you're going to use, you know, to make sure that there is stability between you and your principal, the governorship candidate.
Yes, you might say that the deputy governor doesn't have things to do constitutionally. Right. But I believe that my going there is actually to work hand in hand with my principal, that's the governor, to work hand in hand with him. And it is also to see that we implement that which our manifesto is. And in doing that, I know that in our manifesto we have things that has to do with women, we have things that has to do with education, we have things that has to do with security, we have things that has to do with health. So in doing that, I know with the relationship that is that will be established, I would have things to do. Talk about the role of women, empowering women, capacity building, ensuring that the women have a voice in the land, inclusion in policies that are being drafted in the state. So that's not an issue. It's just in oneness between my principal and I, which I know that will not be a problem.
Okay. Iyabo, let's look at the role money plays in Nigerian politics. And women, like we noted, have always been, you know, at the background and the rest. It costs so much to go around the various constituencies and meet various groups and the rest. How are you going to cope with this?
You know, I told you earlier that I'm involved in humanitarian services, and we have our presence in Lagos State. NWES is a large organization that has presence in 36 states. And with our presence in Lagos State, I don't need to be in all the constituency because I have people there representing me, based on the fact that they know how we have been pushing for some things that has to do with women in the country. Then pushing for a woman like me in my state would not be a problem by my fellow women.
All right, okay, that's great. And let's look at other issues that, you know, Lagos needs urgently. What are those things that the UDP would be bringing to the people of Lagos? You mentioned education. You talked about how you're going to revitalize the waterways to make it the hub of transportation, away from the sometimes 6 hours Lagosians have to spend on the road and only capable of doing one business in a day. What are the other issues that you'll be looking at, like the health sector, for example?
Yes, the health sector, for example, is going to be easily accessible by all. Presently, we have the National Health Insurance Scheme. How efficient it is, how people are accessing it, I wouldn't know at the moment. But one thing I know is that if we have an health insurance system on ground presently in the country, then Lagosians will benefit from that. How? By ensuring that the NHIS works according to the laws governing is established.
The Lagos State government has launched its own scheme.
Yes.
And it's already been applauded everywhere.
It's not about launching things, but it's about implementation. How are people assessing these things? Do you understand? Many a times we have launched and established a lot of things, but the implementation, ensuring that people have access to it, is what matters most. It's not just for the health system. If once UDP comes in, we would not bring in any other thing, but ensure that what is already on ground is properly implemented, such that everybody, even the grassroots, have access to it.
So yours is going to be a government of continuity, not a government that, oh, we're going to, you know, do away with the policies of the further government because it's not our party or it's not our own initiative.
Our government is not a government of doing away with what, because we believe in the oneness of the state. We believe in continuity of the government. So whatever, because let's be honest with ourselves, whatever we come up with, we might not be able to complete it. If each government comes in, would always have unfulfilled or unfinished projects. So our government, our party believes in continuing. Wherever they stop, let's continue and ensure, because we are a party that is not self-driven. We are a party that is people-driven. Whatever the present government has actually launched the NHIS in the state, but we would take it a notch higher by ensuring that people have access to quality drugs, not inferior drugs, by ensuring that people have same service across the board, by ensuring that people are easily and quickly responded to when there are emergencies. There is no upper scale or lower scale. When it comes to health, it should be available to everybody. These are some of the policies I'm telling you that we are going to implement. We are not there to eradicate, but we are there to continue and also upgrade whatever has been in existence. And wherever we see that, okay, this is not, okay, giving us something what we want to see, then we can now bring in policies to ensure that, okay, this thing, how far has it taken, or how are people assessing this? If people are not assessing it by the present structure, then we have no choice but to come in with a new structure. Because why? Because the target is the people.
And the people of Lagos, more than 24 million, going by the UNDP, that is the United Nations Development Program, and population activities as well. Do you think, will your party be reducing the tax on the people or increasing it?
To be honest with you, at the moment, we have no plan of increasing the tax. We have no plan of increasing the tax. Do you think
Lagosians are overtaxed? Should be reduced?
You're trying to put me on the spot.
That's why you're here on Nigeria 2019. You're already on the spot.
Well, since Lagos State has, I believe that there are other ways funds can be generated into the state. Look at the tourism aspect of Lagos State. We have our national theater there. We have Badagry. These are areas that the state can focus on.
But
not
do you know to go from the island to Badagry would take you a whole day?
That's
what tourists are you going to be having there?
That is why the first project is to ensure that we have
to regenerate the entire transportation system.
Then we now take the other aspect that can bring in funds to the state. We can't overburden the citizens. It's not possible. It's not done anywhere.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Iyabo Bello. Iyabo Bello is the deputy governorship candidate of the United Democratic Party in Lagos State. We wish you all the best. We want to see more women, you know, taking up political saddle and testing the waters. And maybe one day we would see Nigerian woman occupying the #1 seat in the country.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. You're watching Nigeria, the road to 2019. We'll take a short break, and earlier in a program, we spoke with Dr. Alhassan Bashir. He's a gerontologist, and when we return, we'll be playing you that earlier recorded program.